Hey everybody, welcome to Minis by Meyer. My name is David, and today we're going to be going through a quick video on painting a Jedi Starfighter. Now this Jedi Starfighter is the one that Obi-Wan flew in Revenge of the Sith. I believe it's towards the end of the movie and so forth, but it's not widely thought of or recalled. It typically we would think of the red and white one that the Jedi Starfighters use in the Clone Wars. But yeah, this is the blue and white one. So client wanted it done that way, and I don't think that Atomic Mass Games offers the blue and white one that Obi-Wan flew in Revenge of the Sith. Enough about that. So we're going to be working on that in this video, and there were some things that I came across that were kind of a challenge. We'll kind of go through that in a little bit. So, but here we go. You're seeing the model as it's already primed. Now, at the time of the recording of this, I had it already primed, and I didn't get around to capturing it before I had primed it. So apologies for that, but I kind of wanted to share the process with you. So two things of note in this particular spot is the primer. That's a Valejo brand Grey primer. It looks like Grey Seer from Citadel, and goes on really nice. I put it on with an airbrush. Now the Caledor Sky that I'm painting there, that's the blue paint. That's Citadel's brand, mixed with a little bit of water. Goes on nice and smooth. It only needed one or two coats in this particular scene. So really nice application. So I highly recommend the Valejo primer, by the way. So you can see it's pretty nice little finish there to that. So we move over to the Iron Warrior, Citadel's brand of a dark metallic paint. Look for a dark metallic paint. I strongly suggest getting the Iron Warriors from Citadel. That's what it's called, is the Iron Warriors. It's very dark metallic paint, and that's what I use on the exposed instruments for this particular miniature, as well as the weapons. And in this particular spot is the Phalanx Yellow, Citadel's own color. It's a nice rich yellow. And then I'm using Abaddon Black here as a glaze and just kind of smoothing it out. And the glaze is heavily diluted, and I plan to do a video on how to do glazing at a later date. But glazing, the main thing with glazing is lots of water and patience. Lots of water and patience. Moving the glaze into the corners of where you typically see the shadows on a cockpit window, that was my goal. And it kind of flows to the corners, but sometimes it gets a little stubborn and doesn't want to go there. But the key to this is just staying patient and letting it dry. So here I made another glaze with the Grey Seer paint that I have from Citadel, and this is to enhance the shading that I did as well as the highlighting. Now I made a little bit of a mistake, an oops, but I used my brush as a sponge to clean up the oops, as you can see. And you can always try to do that with paint as long as it's very wet still. So, but I cleaned it up really quick. Now here all I'm doing is highlighting with the Dorn Yellow and just tapping the very top. So here's a magic bullet for everybody. This is Tamiyas panel liner. Comes in a few colors. This is black, obviously, but you can see what it does right away. You see the results. Now it is very aggressive in its flows. You'll see here in a minute where what it does is it goes wherever it needs to. You have to be prepared to wipe it away whenever it does stuff like that.
and it will go where it needs to go and where it wants to. So you got to be ready to work and wipe it away as soon as possible if it goes somewhere, because it can kind of stain as well. So you see how well it lines everything.
So there were a couple of things that, I shouldn't say a couple, just a few, that were kind of a challenge for me in this whole painting experience. So when I got done basing the model in the blue that I chose, which was the Caledor Sky, I wanted to do some glazing on it with a lighter color, and I chose another color, and that was the outdoor blue. I was going to do a glaze with that to try to make a transition from a light to a dark towards from the front to the back on the blue. And when I started doing that, it wasn't coming out quite as bright as I wanted it. And I wanted a lighter blue, and this was not going to do it. It just wasn't light enough. So I chose from that, and I went over to a Fenrisian Grey and used that and made a glaze with that, and it worked out great. But the point I'm bringing that up is that when you're painting a miniature, you want to do it with no fear. You know, you're going to have to try things as you paint these miniatures that you may not be comfortable with. But in the long run, over time, you reflect back on that and you're going to say, man, I'm glad I did that because I learned from it. So that's the important thing, is this entire experience is a learning moment from myself, and hopefully when I'm learning, I'm able to share it with you. So yeah, I was satisfied with the result. So one of the things that I had to come to grips with on this particular miniature was I was going to have to edge highlight a couple of things, and I don't particularly like to do edge highlighting. I do it in a very reserved quantity, just for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason is I'm not quite good at it yet. I need more practice, but I felt like I needed to on this, and it needed to have a lot more than what I'm accustomed to doing on a miniature. So I went for it. I chose the two colors I wanted to edge highlight with, and it required some mixing and so forth. But I always do it without diluting the paint. And that allows for the paint to be a little bit thicker on the brush and hold the consistency, so that as I drag the edge of the brush across the corners, it does have a lot better flow, and it came out a lot better. So, and then the end result, I did like the way it came out. So that's pretty much it as far as this miniature goes. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I try to be, try to share some of the struggles that I encounter, the successes, and the failures. To know that miniature painting isn't always, hey, I know what I'm going to do right when I jump into it, and it always comes out great. Now, sometimes you have to step back and do something over. So that's what this is, kind of me doing here, is trying to expose myself and say, look, this is what it really is about. Miniature painters make mistakes. Let's fix them. Let's get better at it. That's how we learn. So, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.